So glad you're here. Let's start. Well, hello, everyone. I'm Julie Halston. This is Virtual Halston, episode 19. Episode 19. I can't believe it. We're up to that already. Last week, as you probably remember, because we have so many viewers that watch regularly, we had Eric Bergen, Jessica Keenan-Wynn. They were so delightful. And of course, we're very excited to welcome Barrett Foa and Ann Harada. And I think they all know each other. So it was a whole confluence of love. We were all talking about each other last week. And I want to do a shout out, a lovely shout out to the wonderful viewer and friend and fan, Betty Thomas. Betty Thomas is someone that I do know, and she watches every week. She's a very faithful viewer, and she tips us every week. So Betty, thank you so, so much. That's so wonderful. And to all the viewers, again, welcome. And of course, I do want to just remember the incredible Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, whom we lost recently. And I think a lot of us are really pretty devastated by that. I know as a woman, I consider her my hero. She fought for us. And of course, we're in a very tricky time right now, and we want to be able to maintain and expand our rights. And so Ruth fought for us, so we have to fight for Ruth. And we have to have a lot of weapons in our arsenal. And one person that has a lot of weapons in his arsenal, the weapons of wit, sarcasm, and irony, is my producer, Jim Caruso. Come on in.
What in the hell is that intro? Oh, like I'm sarcastic.
Well, I'm trying to be a little.
Hi, Judy Lynn.
I know, but
How
Ruth
are you?
Ginsburg. Oh man,
I know. I watched some of the service today. It was very touching.
Very
beautiful.
touching.
So simple, just like I assumed she would have been. Simple, just perfect. I thought it was a perfect service that we watched today. What a send-off.
Well, also, unlike others in our world, the ultimate class act.
Truly.
Truly.
I wish I could have met her. I feel bad that somehow that our paths never crossed. She wasn't a big open mic fan. Not a big open mic fan, evidently.
Okay, I was going to say no cast party. You know what, though? She was a big opera buff. I bet she would totally love cast party. Well, I bet she'd enjoy it.
It's one thing we won't know.
We won't know.
But what a joy to watch her career all these years, and to watch so much stuff on TV about her. Wow. The documentary on CNN is fascinating.
Fantastic. What she went through. And so thank you, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. We honor you, and we will fight for you. And also, Jim, we're still watching all the incredible concerts and, comedy stylings of Julie Halston at Radio Free Birdland. That's still going on.
Your concert, yes, your concert runs for 30 days. Ruby, bring that up. It's such a beautiful graphic that we have.
There you go.
Radio Free Birdland is a wonderful concert series, online concert series that Birdland does in conjunction with BroadwayWorld.com. So much fun, and yours was hilarious.
Well, and I didn't, again, Jim, you had to push me. You were like, let's do this. I was like, comedy for no one.
I know.
That's hilarious.
No audience, socially distanced. They weren't even in the building, the audience.
No. And here I am. But we had so much fun watching it together. People can still, there we are.
Look how gorgeous is that. Who is that?
Who is that? That's Julie Halston.
So beautiful.
And we had so much fun. So please feel free to and all the concerts have been fantastic.
Yeah. Last night, Paolo Schott. Oh my Lord.
Yeah.
Tony winner for.
Sing. Can he?
He's terrible singer and ugly.
Unappealing on all levels.
So handsome, like old school leading man, handsome guy. Just
Matinee
a great
idol.
matinee idol and a brilliant performer. So it was
Yeah.
really fun to present him last night and for the next 30 days.
There you go. Now we have our darling mugs, which I have. My adult beverage is a dry Riesling.
Oh, nice.
It's called Trocken. Trocken means dry, I think. I don't know. What do I know? Do I know German, Austrian? What do I know? I'm trying to speak. I don't know. It's a dry Riesling. Anyway, Jim,
Yes.
I got an email. Not only do I now have a year's worth of wispies, we now
Your
have our
lashes. Explain
darling
those are your lashes. Yeah.
lashes. Thank you
Yeah.
for clarifying. We now have virtual Halston cookies. Oh my God. Wait. Oh my God. John Haber makes these shortbread cookies. And yes, look, Habees. They're called Habees, shortbread biscuits. He does this for the theater community. And I know John from, Chapel Hill, which I didn't go to, but that's a whole other story. But he's also worked with the Dodgers, the production team of the Dodgers. And John Haber is just an incredible guy, and he makes these cookies. Can we just see it again?
Let's see the cookies again.
I can't get enough of it. Oh,
Julie, you look vaguely British.
I do. I look like I might be a moderator for the Great British Baking Contest, don't I?
Yes, exactly. But there's shortbread, right?
It's shortbread, and that's kind of perfect that I would look British. Don't you think? I know it's Scottish, but Scottish, British.
It's all kind of the same world.
It's sort of the same world.
I can't wait to taste these damn cookies.
Well, I'm going to be getting them. So,
Okay.
And I told John, first of all, I was so thrilled. Thank you, John. They're exquisite looking. And I will find out if he would like to bake virtual Halston cookies for any of you. So
for the whole class.
Find out the particulars, the deets, as the kids say, the deets. No, is that like 1990?
I don't like when you say that. Yeah.
Okay, we'll find out the deets, and we'll could just eat you up. Grant Schneider, thank you so much.
Oh, Grant.
Well, I like that. Oh, I'm already feeling a lot better. Between my dry Riesling and what Grant just said, I'm feeling very perky. I
don't want to assume, but he might have been talking about the cookies.
Might have been talking about the cookies. Now, guys, why do we do this? We do this because we have to pay for the platforms. But guess what? We really do this because, there we go, Venmo, PayPal, if you can tip us. Jim is expanding our reach. Literally, it's like 8,000 to 10,000 people in the live stream, which is so fantastic. And then more later. We have to pay for the platforms. And we want to reach as many as possible. We know that the show seems to be reaching people, and people like the show. And we want to keep entertaining you. Listen, this is a very anxiety-producing time, particularly to the lead up of the end of the year. We want to keep you entertained, lighthearted, laughing, and stars. We want to keep giving you the stars. So please feel free to tip us. And of course, a portion does go to the Pulmonary Fibrosis Foundation, which is the organization near and dear to my heart. My husband in 2018 did pass away from complications of pulmonary fibrosis. And I know a number of people in the Broadway community that have either passed from pulmonary fibrosis or who are struggling with pulmonary fibrosis. So please feel free to tip us. And Jim, even, if all the people that watch us gave $10, just $10 would be amazing.
That would be amazing.
It would be amazing. So please feel free. And again, a shout out to Betty Thomas, who tips us every week.
So sweet.
So
Isn't
lovely.
it incredible that people, they really are supportive, and it's a lovely, lovely thing on my show too. They just, I've been so dazzled by the warmth and support that people out there, people that we don't even know sometimes, do for us, and it's very, very, very appreciated.
Can you tell us a little bit about who might be on your show?
Oh, absolutely. This coming Monday, Pajama Cast Party on this very YouTube network, we have Cheetah Rivera.
What?
I know.
What?
Cheetah. What? Wait.
What?
We love doing that. Cheetah, her daughter, Lisa Mordente, a brilliant singer dancer. I'll bring that back up because I can never remember them all. Frankie Marino is a Vegas headliner who will kill you. He is so entertaining. Naika sings, that beautiful girl in the middle. I first heard singing on the subway. Not even kidding. She is a genius soul R&B singer. You will die. She is so extraordinary. Gary Burr, who has written some of the biggest hits in the world on in country and pop music. Nashville writer, one of my favorite voices, and Avery Raquel, a beautiful young Canadian pop singer. It's going to be such a good show.
Wow. This
Monday at 8.
And Cheetah Rivera.
Have you heard of this woman?
The legend that she is. And just, she's also one of those people, very much like Bernadette Peters, the real legends, the real stars. Generous, shows up, professional, knows.
Doing my show.
Yeah. No, it's just
that's
so
generous. That's generous.
It's fantastic. Ruby Lochnar is our tech director for a big Pulmonary Fibrosis Foundation walk that we're doing tomorrow. And, Bernadette Peters did a shout out for us the last time. She's performed at Broadway Belts. These big stars are just, it's not like they're not busy. The stars are busy. Even when they're not busy, they're busy. But they're so generous and so wonderful. So that's going to be a very special cast party.
I'm excited.
Look.
What?
Pajama Cast Party makes it hard to hate Mondays. Impossible.
Oh, that's a great quote.
Charles,
you're so nice. Thank you.
Isn't this fantastic? This is great. So please.
Well, we can. Good night, everybody. This was nice. Right. I mean, where do you go from there?
No, it's fantastic. Well, I think we need to bring Ruby in because Ruby is the busiest bee in the whole world. So let's bring her in and find out what virtual mogul Ruby Lochnar is doing. Yeah. She's becoming a big star on her own.
There's Ruby.
Yeah. Hello, Julie. Hello, darlings.
Darling. Oh,
darling.
Yes. Wait, darling.
Darling.
There's a screenshot waiting to happen.
Oh, yeah.
Darling, you have a talk show, a YouTube channel, a podcast, a virtual event. You're doing my PFF walk. You told me you get up at 6:00 in the morning. What? And then she works out.
I do. That's what keeps me sane, honestly. But it's been crazy. I think I can actually announce this now because the cast has been confirmed. But my latest project that's in the works is I am producing a reading next month for a wonderful theater company with an all-star cast starring Dylan McDermott, which is really exciting. So that's my latest project that's in the... I know, I get a clap this week. And Felicia Rashad is starring in it as well. So it's all been very, very exciting.
She is just too much. And I loved... Can we talk a little bit about your boyfriend? Because I got a little shout out from Kevin where he called me darling.
Yes, I mean, it took him long enough to finally understand the Julie Halston lingo. But yeah, he had a birthday a few days ago. He's actually back at work now. His work just opened after over 6 months. So he's finally getting back into the swing of things. But it was his birthday a few days ago and you commented on his wall, like his Facebook wall, said happy birthday. And he responded with, thank you, darling. And he looked at me and he goes, I finally got her language.
Oh, when I saw that, I thought, oh, that's so adorable. And then I thought, Jim, is there a problem there? Why is a straight man calling me darling?
I like the jump from last week. Last week you were saying, because last week it was, me and Kevin's anniversary. Last week you were saying, so when is he going to put a ring on it? And this week you're saying, should I be worried?
Yeah, should I be
right.
worried?
Julie worries about everybody.
It's true. I do.
True.
But I know I'm so old fashioned. I do believe after a certain amount of time, a marriage proposal should be in the offing.
Oh.
Well, Julie, you're welcome to talk to him about that.
Okay. I'm just saying.
Just send him a mug with a really loving threat inside.
Yeah. Darling. Now, let me ask you this very seriously, though. What does he do for a living?
Oh, well, so funny enough, we actually met doing an off-Broadway show a little over 3 years ago. And I had just moved up to the city full time. I used to split my time, and I just moved up to the city full time. And it was so funny. You know how they always say, the second you stop looking is the second you'll find somebody. But I thought, really, in what world am I going to find a straight man doing a musical? Really, in what world? And then turns out I did. So he's primarily an actor. And then, like all of us in between gigs, he does the retail game. And I'm very, very proud of him.
Fantastic. Aww. Well, I know too, I thought, I was in my 30s. I was 34 going on 35. And the door opened up to 1010 Wins, and I was being interviewed by the anchor man there, and the door opened up, and he took my breath away, and I was like, and I knew he was straight because he wasn't quite put together well enough. Do you know what I mean? Like the tie didn't quite go with but he was so good looking. And I turned to Sam Rudy, the publicist, and said, find out everything you can about that man.
And I remember I was so embarrassed the first time I met Kevin because he actually dresses quite well. And I try to usually. But our first day of rehearsal for this show, I was sick as a dog and I still had to come in. So I think I came in basically pajamas, pretty much pajamas. And then he was standing across the room and I thought, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I just walked around like this all day.
But look what happened.
He puts up with me. So, Jane Hughes said 3 carats, Ruby.
3 carats, Ruby. That Jane Hughes. There you go. Jane was our winner, by the way, for anyone who doesn't remember or doesn't know of our imitation of Julie. She was our female winner. We love Jane. Well, Ruby, we're going to get back to the show again, but you are the cutest, the busiest. Talking to you, I am exhausted. Bye, Ruby.
Bye.
We'll see Ruby later. She is too much, isn't she?
I know, it's a lot. It's a lot, but how great to have that energy. I need to lie down just from that.
Just from that. I'm already can the guests
a little exhausted.
Come back another day? I'm tired. I'm having
not these guests. These guests are killer. You're going to have so much fun.
All right. I'm going to bring on our first guest. First of all, I haven't seen him in a while. I do know him. Of course, everyone watching knows him. Yes, you know him from the hit series NCIS, Los Angeles. Many of you in the theater knew him from Avenue Q. He was also just last year on Will and Grace, where he played Will's love interest. And you know what? He's done so much theater. He's done television. He's he's a star. Can we bring in, welcome everyone, Barrett Foa.
Woo!
Hi.
Hi, Julie. Hi, Jim.
Hi, Barrett.
Oh, wow.
Your gorgeous Beechwood Canyon home.
Thank you. Yes.
So beautiful.
Yeah, I'm so happy for you, Barrett.
Thank
you.
You're invited. As soon as
I will take you up on that.
Yeah. As soon as anything you'll get here. You'll figure it out.
I'll figure it out.
You can sleep in one of the 3 guest rooms.
Oh, wow.
That's TV, Julie. That's what happens when you're on a TV show.
Yeah, it's true.
You get guest rooms.
Yeah. Barrett, I read recently that you have been doing a lot of cooking during this time.
I've been doing some cooking and because it's either I didn't know what to do at first because I'm not a cook and I'm a single lady and I don't know what to do and how I'm not a frozen pizza person. I'm a go out and restaurant person. I'm a native New Yorker. So I like a restaurant and the LA theater scene, LA theater scene, that's another story. The LA food scene is chef's kiss. Gorgeous.
Yes.
So I like really leaned into it and but that was not coming to me because all of the restaurants were closed. So I was like, a girl's got to do girl's got to do what a girl's got to do. Looked up some recipes and there I am whipping it up and putting it on Instagram for everyone to see because apparently that was what was interesting up until the end of May. And then some shit changed.
Okay, and then it changed. But let me ask you this. Did you have like a particular book that you used or a particular chef that you...
My friend Adam Roberts is a writer and he has a blog called The Amateur Gourmet and he's a big foodie and he has a great Instagram, Amateur Gourmet. And it's very accessible. He has food. He has his own cookbook. But he's great. Yeah, follow him.
Fantastic. Well, this is great. I actually too have not been, using takeout or going out, although just starting to possibly meet for socially distanced dinners because I'm like you. I'm a New Yorker. It's like we live at Joe Allen's, but I've actually had to really cook for myself, and I have a few things that I'm actually good at, but basically it's like, maybe I'll just have some chocolate.
Chocolate,
it keeps me thin.
I have a whole thing about good fats.
Oh, okay. I want to hear about that. But now, listen, you are such a star, and you've had such an incredible career, and more to come. But like my dear friend Santino Fontana from Tootsie, the two of you went to the Interlaken Center for the Arts in Michigan, and he always talks about it with such love and reverence. Oh, what is that?
Michigan.
There you go.
Michigan, and down here's Detroit. And
That's right.
Went to school in Ann Arbor here, but then I went to Interlaken Arts Camp up here near Traverse City.
Well, I was in Michigan not too long ago, right before the pandemic. It is an absolutely gorgeous state, but I didn't know much about Interlaken, but you've talked about it with such love and reverence. And I think we actually have a picture of you. There you are. There you are in the gondoliers, I think.
In the gondoliers.
Yes, the gondoliers. How old are you?
That was me at 17.
Okay, you look 12.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
I was 12 until last year. Yeah. But they, and now I got to move into like my young dad status. How am I doing?
Okay. But what was it about Interlaken that you loved so much?
Interlaken, it was magic. I was like that kid who was like, I guess theater's fun because I get flowers afterwards and people applaud me, like that. I was just like a screw up. So I was like, what? Yeah, someone just give me attention.
You were kind of that geeky guy, the geeky guy.
Yeah. And then Interlaken was like, oh no, this will not just be you and about you. This is the arts with a capital A. This takes discipline and practice, and you're going to have to lock yourself in that practice room and practice that monologue over and over and over and over again, and those scales. And you're next to your bunkmate, plays the tuba, and your best friend is an opera singer, and you're just like, oh, the arts are everywhere, and this is something bigger than me, and something that you sort of give over to and study. And I really, the passion for the arts was infused in me. When
you learn that lesson, you realize that the arts can be a very noble profession. It's actually about giving and not receiving.
Thank you. And the perception is exactly the opposite.
Exactly.
And it's so frustrating.
Yes.
So frustrating.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you this, because apparently in junior year of college, you went off to London to study at RADA. Was that just dreadful? Was that awful?
It was a slog. It was so amazing to be there. First of all, the theater. Also, we were students, so like, you know, theater's cheap anyway, and then the theater was even cheaper because we were students, and we just saw everything every night. Judi Dench, Eileen Atkins, you know, we just gobbled it up. It was delicious. And the best production of Guys and Dolls I've ever seen and I will see. You know, these kinds of just heightened experiences. Plus, you're just getting away from your life, from the States, with a different culture and a different history, and then coming back from that it's all about perspective shifts. Don't you think? Wow. Don't you think that's what the life is? Of just get out of your bubble and perspective shift. And even the fact that we, during this global pandemic,
yes,
that we are forced to be in this bubble, is sort of getting us out of our normal bubble, which is me going to restaurants and me going to bars and me being social in this way and that way. No, you gotta stay here, Barrett, and you gotta figure stuff out on your own, right here. And that is perspective shift, and that has made me grow exponentially.
I have to say, just doing this show, because, you know, I'm a theater girl. I'm a theater queen. I just finished doing Tootsie. Before that, right before the shutdown. Yes, thank you. I was doing a workshop with Kristen Chenoweth and Scott Ellis and Mike McGraw, and literally we shut down, and that was that. But it was really through doing this that I had to learn how to pivot and do this and talk to people. And Barrett, I mean, let's face it, you know, we actors, yes, we're pretty self-involved in many ways. I am having the time of my life, meeting people, talking to people, figuring it out.
Because you're giving. It's back to what you just said before. It's not about you sulking in your apartment. You're giving, and it's not. This is not about like Julie Halston getting famous for this. It's like, you are amazing at this. I watched 2 episodes this week to prep, and now I'm a fan, so I'm going to watch all the time.
Oh, well, bless you.
My God, but you're natural at this.
Well, I'm finding out that, and I'm just so delighted. And by the way, if you're just tuning in and you're enjoying, please feel free to tip us. Yes, that is the real Barrett Frower. Yes, please feel free to tip us. You know, I was saying we get like 10,000 people just in the live stream, and then we have more throughout the week, of course. If literally everyone just gave us $10, that would be amazing.
And math that I can't really do right now because I have a BFA in musical theater, but I'm sure it's a very big number.
It would be a very big number, and it would literally, one of the things that we're concerned about with people who do have pulmonary fibrosis is people out on the West Coast, because the air quality is so poor. They can't go out at all. So that's one of the things we want to get oxygen to people and whatnot.
That's wonderful. You really should, because it's scary looking outside the window. It's been like this for weeks. It's bad. It's bad. So we want to really help people. So Barrett, then we got to talk about, here you are in New York, you're doing things, and then you're cast in Avenue Q. You replaced John Tartaglia. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I was his understudy for a year.
Okay.
So here's the deal with me.
Tell me the deal.
I was the big guinea pig experiment in Avenue Q.
What do you mean?
Because up until that point, everyone who was a puppeteer role was a puppeteer.
Oh.
SPG for 15 years. And, you know, they exhausted then they started becoming a hit. They're like, oh, we got to go to Broadway, and we got to get understudies, and we got to get replacements, and this thing's going to run. We've exhausted the puppeteer community, which is, 25 people. Like, I don't know how many people are puppeteers in New York City who can play this role, who have the same voice type, who have the, whatever it is. They're like, we're going to have to teach performers to puppeteer.
So you had to go to puppet camp.
So I was the first puppet camper ever. So it was me and Rick Lyon and one other guy locked in a room with mirrors and a jillion puppets. And we put them on, and he gave us the 101 basics. And I auditioned and got this role, but it was a weird and interesting, and maybe we can talk to Anne about this. It was an interesting building to enter because I was a little bit of the outlier. You know, I was the new kid who is he going to be able to, you know, handle this skill that we've been doing for 15 years? And I got it. I get that was a weird thing. But eventually, over the year, I studied John Tartaglia, who was a joy to understudy.
Great.
I studied his puppeteering and got better. And, you know, and then eventually the producers were like, you're going to take over the role when John leaves.
Well, I think my whole career is a puppet camp, to be honest, or maybe just camp. But we are going to bring Anne in now. And of course, you know, well, we love her so much. She's such a Broadway favorite. So many people know her from, you know, Avenue Q or Seussical or Cinderella. A lot of people know her from the TV show Smash when she played the stage manager. She's done a lot of things on television. She's just someone that also works really hard with our union. She's really kind of the warrior women, and I just love her to pieces, and she's just so talented and so amazing. Let's bring her in, and she's a mom. And where is she? It's Anne Harada.
Hello.
Hi,
darling. Darling,
Hello.
did
Don't
you
make
hear
me
about?
cry. I don't want to start this thing crying. You're so sweet,
All right.
and Julie. You
No,
know.
well, darling, I'm not really sweet. It's all true. It's all true. You know, I could be a terror, but it's all true, and we all love you so much. First of all, I want to ask, because you are a mom, what is happening with your son? And we will talk about the fact that his name is Elvis in a minute. But tell us, how is your son? Is he back at school? What's he doing?
He's doing school remotely.
Okay.
Because he's in high school now. Barrett, doesn't that make you feel about $1 million? He's in high school now, and his high school is not doing any hybrid learning because they just don't have the space.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like they don't have enough classrooms to have rooms where there's actual children and actual teachers, and then remote teachers. You know, there's just not enough people.
Wow.
And there's not enough of a footprint. So it's just like, they were like, forget it, high school. You're all doing remote all year long, because otherwise they can't do all the electives that they want. And
Yeah.
I
How
think
is
it
he
makes a lot of
doing?
sense.
How is he doing
relieved, actually.
psychologically?
How is anybody doing psychologically? I think it's very rough on people his age in particular. You know, he hasn't seen a person his age in real life since March. Do you know what I mean? He's been stuck with me and his father and a grandmother.
Well, that's abuse.
It's not, you know, it's just not been, he's not spoken to a human, you know, a young human, and it's terrible. I mean, he's spoken like this, but not in person. So I just can't even imagine. Like, if I had been shut up with my parents at age 15 for 6 months, I mean, come on. How much would you have enjoyed that? That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no. A crime. Might be a crime. Might be a crime scene.
I think it's
Might
terrible.
Talk about NCIS Los Angeles. Could be.
Yeah. Oh,
well, now, darling, I think we have a picture, because people might be like, oh, Barrett and Anne, I know they did Avenue Q together. Are they really friends? We have a picture of Barrett and at your baby shower. There, look at this. Look at that.
Peter.
So tell us about that. I'm putting it. I'm plugging in another. I'm plugging in another light.
Do it, Peter. I remember Peter saying, "This is the best diaper bag that ever existed. We're going to go in together and get this for Anne," and we did. The best diaper bag on
It was
earth.
the greatest baby shower, and let me tell you, like, the minute it was over, I went home and started labor. Like, it was so close. Like, Elvis was a week early, and I was just like, gosh, I feel so uncomfortable. I wonder what's happening. And then like we sort of put it together, and Peter was like, you cannot go to the hospital until your contractions are 10 minutes apart or whatever it says, you know.
Oh, fuck you, Peter.
I know. Well, that's what I was like saying.
Fuck you, Peter. I'm going now.
And he was
you
like,
say
let's
fuck
go
on
to
my
the,
show.
let's just go to the to the Dwayne Reed and get some diapers while we're waiting. So like we were just trying to kill time, you know what I mean? And I was just like, I'm gonna fucking kill him. So we go out and we're trying to live our lives. I'm like, I can't, I'm so distracted. So then I started writing thank you notes for all my presents for the baby shower. And like in every one, I was like, I think I'm having contractions now, but thank you so much for coming to the party.
Oh, for goodness sake, that's so crazy. Well, so crazy. Elvis is here. He's now in high school.
He is.
And you, by the way, you went to Brown, I found out.
I did.
Yes. Well, you know, people who go to Brown love to say that they went to Brown. I know that my friend Neil constantly talks about, oh, you know, I went to Brown. Did you feel very prideful that you went to Brown?
It was so, yeah, it was the greatest experience of my life. I met so many amazing people. There's, you know, some of them are my best friends still. And for me, I'm a little girl from Hawaii, Julie. I don't think
I know.
Desolate Hawaii is artistically sometimes. You know, we didn't have I didn't have very much exposure to a lot of the arts growing up. Right. I didn't go to Interlaken. I didn't even know what that was. I'd never heard of it, you know?
No, I know.
No. When I was growing up, I didn't know there were schools you could go to train to be in musical theater, because I'm a dope and I don't know things. But I knew enough to get into Brown. And that was before Brown was a big thing. I could never get into it now. I mean, like, you know, based on like my SAT scores, forget it. You know, so. Like,
well, let me ask you this.
Like, my husband also went to Brown, and we always said, Elvis, you're probably not going to go because you're not going to qualify. You know, like it's so hard to get into now.
Yeah, everyone wants to go to Brown. But now let me ask you this, because I was very similar. You know, I'm from Comac, Long Island, which is my tragedy. But, you know, I didn't really know. And I ended up meeting people who actually like studied with Martha Graham. And I'm like, Martha Graham, what in God's name? You know, I couldn't imagine it. But I read somewhere, I think it might even be on your Wikipedia page, that you really came to New York and were going to just do production. You were not even thinking about being a performer.
Well, I didn't know I could. You know, when you're in college, especially if you're not in a performing kind of situation like a profession, like Michigan, Barrett, where you have a sense of like how you might stack up against other people. Like, you know, you have a sense like, I didn't know I could be an actor because I wasn't sure I was good enough, had training, blah, blah, fill in the blank. And also when I went to Brown, I was there with some very high-powered people that I knew were so much better than me that I was like, well, there's no point because I'm no Laura Linney, you know. It was like that. It was like that level.
Right. Oh, really? Laura Linney.
And you're like, well, you know, and we're in college together and she's so much better that it's like, obviously I'm not going to be good enough to be an actor. So, which is fine. I love the theater. And as I often say, I would have been happy in any job in the theater. And I still believe this. You know, if I can't be an actor anymore, I will be taking tickets. I will be sewing clothes. I will be doing something in the theater because I'm only happy in the theater.
You can sell our merch, darling.
I could. I'd be amazing at that.
Oh,
and you know, Julie, in my early days in New York, I was a part-time box office person for Vampire Lesbians of Sodom.
Oh my goodness!
Yes,
and you,
beach party.
Yes, and you and David Pittu was working in the office as well at one point. David Pittu and Ann Harada, yes, and you know we were of course the fabulous Vampire Lesbians of Sodom, and I still talk about this. Those were the days when people used to interview us occasionally for like these crazy off-Broadway things. And they'd say to me, how do you prepare to get into being the succubus? And I'd say, well, I have a cup of coffee and a cigarette. That was in those days, you could actually smoke at your dressing room table with open cans of paint all around us, Barrett. I'm not joking, because we were at the Provincetown Playhouse, and it was like, wait, you've got to be kidding. Well, first of all, the fact that we're alive is amazing.
No,
And
it's one of the biggest shitholes I've ever been in. And I think I can say that.
No, it really was. It was crazy. And
I grew up in New York City, and the New York Times was our Bible. And I remember, of course, leafing through the ABCs and being like, oh my God, these are the Broadway shows, these are the off-Broadway shows. And then I remember the ads, the big ads and little ads and little ads and the tiny ads and the tiny little eensy-weensy postage stamp ads. And that was Vampire Lesbians of Sodom. And I remember being like, what, Mom, Dad, what is that? What's that? It looks scary. There's like fangs and I was like, lesbian, what is that? And they're like, oh, I don't know if it's for you quite yet.
Well, it was extraordinary, and thank you for bringing that up. Now, both of you were in Avenue Q, and I think, in fact, look.
We'll see.
Bringing you back in the vlog.
We both need haircuts in that picture.
Oh. Tell us a little bit about, it's a very special thing. People still talk about Avenue Q. How did you two get on together? Because, Barrett was talking about, he was sort of the outlier, and he kind of came in and he was the first person to go to puppet camp. And how
was the first person to come into the cast who we had been together for years. Like developing this thing around 1 million tables and, readings for producers. And we went up to the O'Neill and like, we'd all been together forever. And so he was like the first one who had to sort of just go like, hi, I learned puppetry. And we were like, sure you did. We didn't. But he was great. And I've gotten to do the show with so many different casts, and I was like, well, it could never be like it was with the originals because there was nothing before the originals. They set the template, and the rest of, you know what I mean? But I was very impressed with you, Barrett, I must say.
Well,
and Barrett how you managed to do that, because it must have been terrifying.
It was a little bit terrifying. I remember actually being super cheeky and writing a letter to the cast on the first night that I went on, being like, I'm only doing the best I can, and I'm so glad you've accepted me here, and please just bear with me. And because I was sort of getting a little bit of shade, I have to say, and then I was like, girls, let's just everyone settle down. And so, and hopefully, and I eventually, I think I had to prove myself. I had to sort of earn my, what am I earning?
Your puppet hand?
My puppet fur.
Sure,
yeah.
And then eventually, I guess, wowed someone over because I got promoted, and I was.
Right. No, obviously, you were not bad. You were good, but it was like that. But that first time, anytime you shift a big cast member like that, it's always a little weird when when the new person comes in and you're like, oh my God, what is he? Where is he standing? That kind of thing.
No. Yeah, but Barrett is so skilled. He's so skilled, and so you're so personable, because I've worked with Barrett, which we'll talk about in a little bit of time. But I just was so impressed, and the two of you together are such skilled performers and great humans. One of the things I'm learning is about how human and how noble our profession really is. And I'm learning so much about talking to, all the people that I've been talking to. It's really been extraordinary. And that's something that I'm very moved by doing this show. But now I want to talk a little tiny bit, Anne, about Musical, because you have actually said it was the craziest show you ever worked on. And I want to know why. And I want to ask Barrett, have you had a show that you worked on that was kooky? Like, what each day was a different adventure? What was that like, Anne? Why was it so crazy?
Well, Julie, the stories about Seussical are legend. You know,
Well,
I mean,
I don't know a lot of them. I don't.
really? It wasn't
I
all over the
don't.
interwebs?
No, I
I'm
don't
just
go
starting
on
to
there.
feel like every single thing that happened to us was like written down, commented on, blah, blah.
No.
Well, it was a show that I had done from the works, like I had done from the original, I don't know what do you call that? The reading, I guess, the staged reading, the first
Yes.
reading. And, you know, Eric Idle was the Cat in the Hat.
Oh, yes.
And then I stayed with this, you know, they asked me back and I ended up doing the workshop that we did in Toronto with Andrea Martin as the Cat in the Hat. You know,
Okay.
it was wonderful. And this was like the industry presentation and all the producers came in to see it and they were like, oh, it's great. You know, and we did it like in jeans and t-shirts with ladders. It was all very simple so that people could sort of imagine the world. Right. Okay. So then we go to Boston and all of a sudden, once you put in all the design elements,
Right.
everybody was like, oh, I don't like it at all. It doesn't look anything like what I thought it was going to. And they ended up firing the costume designer at the costume parade. Like, so between Act 1 and Act 2, they fired her or something.
Wow. It was
Guys,
like,
I was like, guys,
was that-
these look exactly like the sketches. You can't be mad. You approved these. And they were like, something weird about them. We're not going to go with it. And like, this is like the Weislers, who are themselves legendary people.
yeah.
And you're just like, okay, this is a weird ride. So
Yeah.
we don't like these costumes. Cast, everybody go out and buy yourself an all black outfit. And we're going to start the show like that.
Oh,
Yeah,
no, this is
exactly.
fantastic. I can't believe I've never heard
that.
that.
Was our face. Our face sitting in the Colonial Theater going like, what? Cast, go buy yourself an all black outfit. You know what I mean?
This is priceless. This is
So
priceless.
No.
You know, that's how we started the show. We popped out of this, you know, like our choreography, whatever. We popped out in like these all black outfits. It was like we were in Chicago or something.
Also a Weisler show.
Well, that's what I was saying. They
Weisler show, and you know, worked with them before. So, and then eventually, of course, you know, we started the story, and we changed into other costumes, like the versions of costumes that had been presented to us. They were like, we like that, but not the jacket. We like this, change the shoes. We like, you know, it's like literally we were just came on like all these weird kind of pieces. Like, now I'm a bird. Do you believe me? You know, like all that kind of stuff.
Okay, this is so horrible because what you're also describing is that it has nothing to do with the story. It's all about the costumes. And you know what always kills me? Producers never do this. And you can attest to this too, Barrett. When something's wrong, they never ask the actors. They'll ask the designer, they'll ask a lighting designer, they'll talk to another producer, they'll bring in a show doctor. Talk to us because we know what's wrong.
Well, yes, we did know what was wrong. Unfortunately, what was wrong was the casting. In Boston, we had, and I guess we opened on Broadway with him too, David Shiner, who's a brilliant mime, of course, a partner of Bill Irwin.
Right.
But guess what? Being a mime does not mean you can dance or act or sing. I'm just here to tell you this. The skill sets do not jibe necessarily. And
It's mine.
We're voguing. Are we voguing or miming?
Like they kept rewriting numbers, and I'm like, there was nothing wrong with version 1 of this. It's just that he couldn't do it, you know. So then we'd end up with like version 4 of it, you know, and the dancers had to change their choreography like every day. It was like one of those things where we were just always in flux. I don't know that show ever settled because we were changing it all the time.
Well, this is so fantastic. And I mean, I never heard that. I love the idea of just go out and buy yourself a black outfit. That might
amazing. No.
That's my watchword forever now. I can't. The mime thing is unbelievable. Barrett, were you ever in a show that you were like, oh,
You know, I actually have to say, I was gonna say a kooky show I have been in, but I've never been in a. I've been really, 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 really lucky. I did do. Do I want to talk about that? No, I want to talk about this.
Okay.
I want to talk about the kooky show that we were in together, Julie.
Okay. All right. Well, yes, let's go there because we'll circle back to Anne about something else. But
Okay.
Let's talk about the kooky show that Barrett and I were in, and Barrett was brilliant in, by the way. I think we actually have a pic of Barrett in The Lady in Question, which is a Charles. Oh, there you are. Look, you're in the back. It's the Nazi.
There's the Nazi with the heart of gold.
The Nazi with the heart of gold. That was Anna Rita, Richard Kind, and Charles Bush on the couch, of course. And we did it out at the Bay Street Theater in Sag Harbor. It was directed by Chris Ashley, who runs La Jolla. It was a brilliant production.
It really was. The New York Times review, the title of it was "What Genius Cast This Play." Remember that, Julie?
I do. I absolutely.
And of course, Julie and Charles were the headliners, and they were reprising their roles from a few years back when they had done it off Broadway.
Yeah.
But I mean, which was just a cool thing already. So you're already there. But then the fact that like everyone else in the cast was so strong, it was so much fun. And we were in the frickin' Hamptons for the summer.
Oh, it was fantastic. Matt McGrath. Remember
Matt
Matt McGrath as Lottie?
Matt McGrath. I did Candy Buckley. I did the late Larry Pine. Was that his name? Larry Pine?
Yes.
Oh, I love Larry Pine.
No, Larry Keith.
Larry Keith. That's right.
Yes, Larry Keith.
I did yoga every day, every morning next to John Bon Jovi. Not complaining. I would bike around Shelter Island during the day and then come do the show at night. And I have my, it was a sort of ensemble role, but I had a on the smaller side. But it was so fun. I didn't have to sing. I was like, I had the string of kind of plays that I was doing, not singing. So you didn't have to warm up. You just hit the stage in that Nazi outfit. You get Heil Hitler and you're off. But there.
How many times have I done that?
Really fun. There's two. Oh, thanks.
Yes, Bobby Ducharme, who I know and is in California. Loved every minute. He was there. He saw it. Thank you. Thank you for watching too, Bobby.
Do you remember a certain audience member, Julie Halston, coming to the show? I'm going to tell you a little story.
Oh yeah. Some people know this story. Some people might not.
Okay, so let maybe we'll piece it together. But the fun thing is that I had a friend, Christopher, who was in the audience when someone else was in the audience, and this someone else was sitting behind him, and this person loved the show, cracking up, cackling, really vocal, just really so much so that sort of before the joke was over, there was laughter. So it almost started, do you remember this, Julie? It almost started kind of like screwing up our rhythm.
Oh, do you remember what I said about this person? Before I knew who it was? And I got off the stage and I turned to Charles and I said, who the hell is that puffy-faced crack whore that's ruining my jokes? That puffy-faced crack whore was Renee Zellweger.
So my friend was in the audience that night and he was like, who is this kind of cackler behind me? And he would see people in front of him doing this.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
A little like, what are you doing? And then finally, when they realize, so he's like, what is going on? So he finally looks back, does the same thing. It's freaking Renee Zellweger. We were like, we finally figured it out. We were sort of annoyed at her, how amazingly responsive and receptive she was to it. So much so that she came back again and brought a person that she was canoodling with that summer named Paul McCartney.
And we do have pictures of me with Paul McCartney,
Really?
but we've showed it on the show before. I don't know if we have it now, but
Okay.
Paul McCartney literally came to the show, came backstage, Anne, kissed us, told Charles, he said, "Oh, love, you got great legs." Oh, there we are. There I am with Paul McCartney.
Oh my
Okay,
God.
wait, why were they dating?
Well, I don't know, but they went to a polo game. He eventually, of course, I think got rid of Renee Zellweger. She was, I mean, again, she was so lovely to us and she gave us flowers.
Flowers.
And flowers to
Of
us.
course, no doubt. She's lovely and very
She was
talented,
lovely. But you know what?
She
was weird,
between
Anne.
them in age.
No, she was weird. And I do remember one night I saw her outside the theater and she was all like, she didn't want to be seen, and she was wearing like this hood thing and like sunglasses or whatever. And she was smoking a cigarette outside and she kind of looked like a crone. She was kind of crazy looking, but she didn't want people looking at her, but she was as sweet as can be. She loved the show. She came back. Paul McCartney came back. And Candy Buckley, myself, and well, all of us really. Candy Buckley, after Paul left, fell on the floor, crawled under her dressing room table, and was sobbing.
I saw
me too.
the moment from across the room. I saw that moment. I was like, I just saw a person literally crumble and cry because they met their ultimate hero, King God.
Of course, of course.
I mean, you're not going to get bigger.
Were
We
you
had
there the
so
day?
many stars come that summer. Sarah
day?
Jessica Parker, Alan Alda, Joy Behar, all these people. Forget it. You know what? You people are nobodies. It's like Paul McCartney, talk about global. I mean, he changed the entire culture. And the fact that he kissed me, and literally I called my mother at 1:30 in the morning sobbing. And my mother was so sweet. She said, "I understand. This is the biggest moment of your life. I understand. I'm going back to bed now." But she understood.
Barrett, were
Oh,
you there that day Dame Judy Dent showed up to Avenue Q?
That's right. I have pictures with her. I forgot about that.
So you might not remember this. Why would you? But when I got to shake her hand, I started crying so hard, like projectile. You know what I mean? Like, like that. And up until then, I didn't even know I liked her that much.
Oh.
But somehow, like, sort of faced with her, I was like, she's dead. Like hysterical. Like,
She unlocked something with deep inside you.
She did. And I was like, wow, I've made such a show of myself. That's horrible. Like, you know what I mean?
No, it's wonderful.
English are so cool and reserved. And I just thought that was the most uncool thing I could ever have done, but I couldn't help it.
It was that little girl from Hawaii who didn't know.
I know, well, that's it. It's like,
it was that little girl from Hawaii who didn't know Rada and didn't know Interlaken and didn't know that this could happen. And that's what happens. And you can't believe that they like you and that they think you're terrific. And it's just wonderful. I mean, and that's what's so great about the arts is it can bring us all together, and it's very moving. It's very, very moving. Now, I do want to go back to Cinderella for a minute.
Oh, you were so good in that, Anne.
Look at her.
Oh,
look at you. Oh, there's Barrett and I looking at you. Honey, and you know who's watching, because he said he has to watch today, of course. And he watches Peter Bartlett, of course.
Peter Bartlett, the great.
Shout out to Peter Bartlett.
Peter Bartlett.
Yes. Oh, we love Peter Bartlett. He loves you so much. And, I was like, well, doesn't everyone on Broadway love Anne Harada? And I thought to myself, what I'm going to ask? Does anyone not like you? Do you have any enemies? Or people don't like you? Yeah.
Oh, I'm
Does
sure.
like Anne Harada?
I'm sure.
I don't know
any.
any.
You've never worked with me, so you don't know, but I'm very crabby.
Okay.
Also, like, if somebody asks me my opinion, I'll tell them what it is, which is never like the best idea sometimes.
Right. Okay.
I'm the one that in the script read is like, why does this happen? So I'm very popular with writers.
Well,
Which is what Julie just said she wants. Just ask the actors. They'll tell you.
yeah, they'll tell you. They'll tell you. And Barrett,
Yes.
you know, you're on. I mean, you're a huge TV star. NCIS Los Angeles, which, by the way, there you are. There you are. Tell me, I mean, is it still fun? Are you close to the cast? Are you bored? Are you loving? What is the situation now?
Let me say that you will never understand what it is like to do one thing for 12 years.
Right.
Even if you've been in a show for 12 years, even if, who was that woman who was in Cats for all 18 years? You know, like,
Right.
you know, even that, you're doing the same thing every day. So there's a consistency, and that's its own job.
Right.
It is so insane to play a character that keeps evolving and have the same sort of family around you for the most part with cast and crew. The ups and downs of any job.
Yes.
Any job is good. They're all going to be there. And when I say just psychologically, it's so much just really in here. It's not what anything else out here is really doing. We have a very drama-free set. It's pretty
Nice.
not a lot of divas. We run a tight ship. We get out early. We don't go into the weekends and have Fraturdays. You know, we do our work and we go home, and it's so wonderful. But
Great.
that's different from theater.
Yes.
Theater, you sort of want that family community aspect. And I sort of came into this show being like, well, that's what we do here, right? We talk and we collaborate and we're friends and inside and out. And it's like, oh, no, everyone has families. Everyone has other things to do. It's just a different vibe. And I'm like, oh, okay. Stand on the tape and say the lines and have so much fun. Bye.
Right.
And
Exactly.
there are friends. We see each other outside of work. I don't want to say that at all. It's just it's a different kind of community than in theater. And I want to bring that up here because theater is, you know, my first love.
Right.
I just did a production of Angels in America last summer about a year,
I know.
Yes,
I
you
was gonna
did.
ask-
a
Yes.
We're
year
in St.
ago.
Louis, my favorite town.
Oh God, that town is great. I love that town. The gooey butter cake alone. But just to get back to that sense of community and that we're all in this together, and it's really yummy. There's a little bit out here in Hollywood, and not I'm not going to say our show. I think just in the way TV and film works, and you guys have both worked on TV and film, so you know, it's a little every man for himself.
Yes.
It's a little like, do your job and thank you, next, moving on, we got to make our day. It's just a little more time is money.
Right.
And so there's just an adaptation with that.
Right.
But boy, we have
We'll get you
fun, and
back in the theater. We'll get you back in the theater when the theater comes back. Although I do have a little crush on the LL Cool J.
ladies love cool James Todd Smith.
Yeah. I do.
We call him Todd, the insiders.
Oh, okay. Well, you can tell Todd.
Look at you playing with your earrings, getting all like. Just
I know,
a little
I'm getting
feel.
old early. It's like, oh, I have a little crush on that guy. He's awfully cute.
He's very crushable and very charismatic. He will look you in the eye and you will melt.
Well, I would like that. Tell him I'm here. Now, wait, I have to go back for a second because there's two things that we're going to come up to the present now of what you guys are doing. But we have a picture that we have to show the audience, the viewers. And by the way, if you're enjoying this show, which I can't imagine that you're not, look, please tip us anything. There's 10,000 of you watching this live stream. If all of you just gave $10, $25, it would help us so much. And we can continue to give you incredible lightness and laughter and, these wonderful interviews with the stars. I'm actually going to be doing a movie soon. So I'm actually going to be taking Virtual Halston onto the set, which should be fun. I'm going to be doing it with Margaret Cho and Tim Daly and Andre DeShields. So that should be a fun thing. So anyway, please feel free to tip us. You, Ann Harada, was a stand-in for Liza Minnelli during
yes, I was.
Minnelli. Look at that picture.
Isn't that the greatest? Jim, did you take that? Because who else would have?
Let's bring Jim in. Where is Jim? I was going to bring Jim in before this.
I love that photo so much. I didn't even know you then.
Where did that come from?
From me.
You don't know this story, I don't think.
No,
I didn't know you, but I knew that whoever that girl was would want a picture of her in that spectacular light while Liza was off having a fitting. And then of course I got to know you later, and I just love it so much.
Well, Jim.
Julie and Barrett, think about this, okay? So they needed somebody short with dark hair to stand under the lights so that Liza could see what her lighting looked like from the house. Enter me. And they would give me the Bob Mackie jacket, and I would hold it up in front of me, and they would make a light change and go like, what do you think about that, Liza? She'd be like, I love it, or I don't like it, or whatever she would say. And in the course of this week, I ended up having to do her entire show for her. So they would be like, could you just step through triplets? I don't know triplets. I don't, but it's like, but I've seen her do it a bunch of times, and I know she ends up on 4 or whatever it is. So it's like me and these dancer guys kind of working around each other going like, we do everything alike. We look alike. I mean, I'm just making the shit up. And it ends up that I have to do her whole fucking show. So I get to sit in that chair that Jim took the picture of with her band singing her arrangement of I Got Rhythm on the stage of the Palace Theater.
Oh, it's fantastic.
And that light, in superstar lighting, it was like
it's like the gayest heaven in the world.
And you were in a gay haze. Haze.
And then because it was a show about her father, she would run these clips of her father's movies, right? So of course she had to run Trolley Song, and she sings Trolley Song along with her mother, the clip of her mother behind her. So I'm up there singing Trolley Song
with Judy.
Judy Garland
at the Palace. It's really the gayest event ever in the world.
I'm literally doing my impression. I'm this is crazy.
It's a little different than playing. It's a little different than playing Pooh in Emoji Land.
It was so bizarre, but it was so amazing. And every day I would be like, "This is the greatest job I've ever had." I hope I wake up. I never wake up from it. It's amazing. It was amazing, right, Jim?
It was. Well, it was a great show.
Oh, it was a great show. It was a great
I just loved watching you because I could tell how thrilled you were and how into it you were and how much you really got it. What a special thing that was.
Oh, just the fact that I had to do her show. I didn't know her show. I'm up there literally trying to sing Limehouse Blues. You know how hard that is? Limehouse Blues. And how she would say to me things like, now, Anne, when you turn up stage and you gesture at the sign, I want you to really do it. Do it like me. Instead of just sort of putting my arms up, sort of what do you mean this? She'd be like, yes, this. And I'd be like, oh my God, what's happening?
I remember when we did a show called Liza's at the Palace 10 years later that I was actually in. And we had this moment where all the guys had to do a big hand to her, and she said, because we were doing it, we were doing the choreography. She was like, no, I want to see lightning bolts coming out of your fingertips. Well, that says it all, doesn't it?
It does. It does.
Well,
We learned how to do it exactly how she wanted it.
we did not even get to Emoji Land where Anne Harada played Pooh. There she is as Pooh. I never even heard of Emoji Land. Jim saw it. I could not believe it. We only have like a minute or two, and I want to get to Barrett's podcast, but you loved Emoji Land, Jim.
I loved it. I went not knowing if I was going to love it. I think I was not alone. I think a lot of people were like hesitant, like, okay, people are playing Pooh, and
is this Keith Harrison and Laura Harrison? They wrote it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Keith Harrison
but
and Laura
the cast,
Stein.
the cast was ridiculous. Leslie Margarita and Lucas Steele and Georgia Bood, and Laura, who wrote it, was in it. It was brilliant. And Anne Harada as Poop.
Poop.
I mean,
Pile of poop
I
on
like
my
Poop.
resume.
Piles of Pooh. Piles of Pooh.
Pile of poop. Pile of poop. That's the cat.
Well,
It was brilliant.
now
I
I'm
loved it.
I want to know more about it. Will it ever come back, Anne? Because I think it was stopped during the pandemic.
It was stopped during the pandemic. Will it
Yeah.
ever come back?
Yeah.
I don't know anything.
And Barrett,
about
you
any
have a
shows.
podcast. Barrett has a podcast.
Do I have a podcast?
What?
Don't you have a
What's it
podcast?
called?
Is this a don't believe everything you read on Wikipedia moment?
Oh, is it?
I
Wait,
don't know.
you don't have a podcast?
I don't think so. Should we start one?
Oh my!
There was
God.
something I found a Ruby. Pull up the artwork.
Yeah, Barrett, somebody is really convinced that you have a podcast.
Oh my! Look.
Oh gosh, I am. This is me. This is an episode of Eva Price's podcast.
Oh. Oh.
Never mind.
Figured
Never
out.
mind.
We got
Okay, never
it.
mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
Love
Well,
it. So fun. That's me as an over-accessorized magician, thanks to my mom.
okay. That's
Beautifully done.
Abracadabra.
beautifully done. Well, it gave you the start of a career. And Anne, I know that you're working on something now, a project. Is Anne, she's frozen. I don't know what happened to Anne, but I think she's in Vancouver.
Or
That's
maybe
why-
she's just thinking, Julie.
Or
Maybe she's just
Tell
thinking.
me about your project.
Yeah, about her project. I'm in Vancouver thinking about it. By the way, I want to tell everyone, first again, I'm so happy you're here. Our viewers, I know we're running over, but people stay with us. Please feel free to tip us. Next week, by the way, we are going to have the legendary Barrett. Listen to this. We have BB Winans. Look at that.
Yes. All right.
Yeah. BB Winans next week. Do you believe that?
Like that.
Iconic gospel singer. One of the greatest voices
Totally.
in any kind of
All the
music.
Winans, and he's
Yeah.
one of the
Yep.
You're very excited. And Anne is back. And Anne, before we say goodbye to you, you're doing a project somewhere in Canada, and you
I
can't
am.
talk about it, but it's something exciting.
It's so exciting. It's a TV series.
Okay.
Ooh.
It's chock full of other Broadway yahoos,
Okay.
of which I am the least good, least talented person, but it's amazing. Like it's
Don't
super
believe that.
No, no, seriously. When this thing happens, you'll be like, oh, I see why she said that. But like, it's true. I was cast so late because they were looking for somebody local to fill the role so they didn't have to spend any money on traveling somebody and putting someone up, understandably, especially one with such a huge name value as I. But I'm so thrilled. I cannot tell you. I'm so excited to have a job and have health insurance for my family. It's the thrill of my life. So there's
This
that.
is fantastic. I know, and I can't wait to do this crazy Charles Busch film, Barrett. I might be texting you on the set.
Please
On
do.
the show, Tim Daly, Andre DeShields, Dee Hotie. I think it's either going to be brilliant or the police might have to be called. I don't know. But, I hope we can do a virtual Halston from there. Guys, this was so much fun. I hope you had fun.
A ton.
Yes.
I mean, yeah. Jim, any questions?
Here's what I loved. I loved starting my adult beverage early because it's 2 o'clock here.
That's
So
right.
Thank you for the excuse.
Let's all have a cheers to each other. What a beautiful
Cheers.
cast.
I don't even
What
know
a
where my
great
glasses.
show. Love
Oh
you
my
all.
God. I love you guys so much. Barrett, I miss you. Come back to New York as soon as you can.
I absolutely
So
will.
great. And
I miss you so much. I miss New York. It's my hometown.
I know, honey. And please follow me on Instagram, actress Julie Halston, and Twitter. I'm verified. Twitter, @Julie Halston. I love being verified. And we're so happy to see you. Congratulations, Barrett. I miss you. I love you. You're fantastic.
Mwah.
Fuck you with that gorgeous house, Beechwood Canyon. No, of course. It's fantastic. Jim Caruso, Ruby Lochnar. I love you all. Viewers, thank you.
Love you.
Love
Be
you.
joining us next week.
Bye, Ann. Bye, Jim.
Bye, guys.
Bye, Barrett. Bye,
So good to
Ann.
see
Bye,
you.
Julie Lynn.
Bye. What more is there to say?